Wow. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, springtime in Boise, Idaho. I love the energy in the house today. It is beautiful. We are all so happy to see each other and happy to get outside and see smiling faces again. So have a great day, and we're going to start it out with Blaze and Kelly. Give them a big hand.
Every ocean wave, every addiction crave has an undertow. It's so she ran in, outside your friend, you wanna think so. Don't have room to move from this program that's inside the bottom of a bottle, not the safest place for you to hide. So frigid, that man is rigid, his wife would know. She's on the outside, and she tried to tell him he doesn't think so. Assumes his love forever, but never take the time. Ring left on the table, now she up and leaves him behind. Oh, life can turn around on you. Life, oh, life can turn around on you. Give it up, Rex. Love gone bad. You think you're dying, inside you're crying. Oh, life's so sad. Well, a cigarette and ask for a light. One who strikes a match is the next new love of your life. Life, oh, life can turn around on you. Turn around on you. Life, oh, life can turn around on you.
Life turning around on you with Blaze and Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! You know, it's a good day when Blaze and Kelly are in the house. Am I right? I can't believe you people are still in your seats, that you weren't up dancing to that song. You know, we're a dancing church now. Come on. That's right. So good morning. I'm Reverend Jackie Holland. It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living. Those of you who are joining us on YouTube Live right now or watching us later on, we're so delighted to welcome you through the lens of this camera. We want you to know that we love you. You're a part of this congregation. We're feeling your energy every morning as you are joining us. Let us know who you are and where you're from. We have people from Thailand who watch us. Yeah, Florida, Washington, D.C., lots of people in Oregon, lots of people in Southern California. So let us know where you are. We love to say good morning to you. And for those of you who are here in the sanctuary, taking care of yourself, the way you need to take care of yourself, the way you know that you need to take care of yourself, we're so glad that you are here. And we just extend an invitation for you to join us after church for hospitality. This morning, we've been blessed already. You know, I love coming in to service, to the church. I come through the back door and I get to hear what the musicians are doing. I get to listen to them as they get ready for our day. So those of us who are here early have had a lot of warm-up for Blaze and Kelly, so we won't be staying in our seats. No, we be dancing. Y'all can join us. And let me just say, making all of this happen, pulling all of this together, is our musical director, Mr. Rex Miller. And, of course, on the drums, the grandfather of the year, making that big girl bed back in Georgia. I saw you doing that, Mr. Phil Bowden. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just the last lingering little bit of bronchitis, so no alarm if you hear me coughing. It's not contagious. Isn't it funny how we never gave a thought to coughing before, and now the slightest little, and we're like, kind of crazy, isn't it? Kind of crazy. So really, it's just the last vestiges of a little bit of bronchitis, nothing to worry about. So this morning, we have been so beautifully supported by our volunteers. Back on sound, we have Mr. Rob Compton. We have our practitioner, Miss Donna Sheedy, back there on the camera, just taking care of us. Thank you so much. Greeting you this morning was Harold Whitman and Reverend Janine, and I think there are some other people out there, but I don't know. I come in the back door, the servant's entrance. No, seriously. No, I love that. I love servant, being of service. And today, her very last time, at least for this go-round on the Board of Trustees, your board member of the day is Reverend Janine. So I encourage you just to let her know how much you have appreciated her service and the work that she's done, and also just to tell her anything that you think you want us to know that maybe you just don't want to talk to me about. So, in the meantime, have I forgotten it? Oh, yes, Francis Ray is here doing our hospitality and getting everything ready for you. And Mary Board was our cosmic cleaning woman who came in this week and got this church all ready for you. Again, I just want to say thank you to all the many, many volunteers, those that we acknowledge every week and the unacknowledged ones. From our heart, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's remember why we came here to service today. And let's just take a deep breath together. Take a deep breath and remember why we came. For a holy, sacred moment of communication with Spirit. So I invite you right where you are in your homes, just to relax in your seats here in the sanctuary. Just take a moment to center down. Take a moment of peace for yourself and for our world. Breathing in the essence of Spirit, releasing everything that is unlike Spirit. We just take a moment of meditative time. And from this sacred place, we open our hearts and our minds to hear the word of Spirit spoken through our practitioner of the day, Miss Donna Sheedy. Miss Deborah Whitman is our practitioner of the day. I know you, Deborah. You're my sister.
You know, it's like your mother. She never remembers what her children's names are. Welcome, and it's so wonderful to see so many familiar faces this morning. It is my honor to introduce Phil Bowden, who will light the Biden. My apologies. Let me begin again. It is my honor to introduce Phil Bowden, who will light the world religions candles from the Christ candle. In religious science, we perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. In lighting these candles, we honor the one family of humanity, made up of over 4,000 religions and spiritual traditions throughout the world. We light the first candle for Buddhism. The fundamental goal of Buddhism is peace, inner and outer. First, we must understand the cause of peace. Then we can direct our thoughts. We light this candle for our peaceful thoughts and peaceful hearts. We light the second candle for Hinduism. Gandhi defined the Hindu creed simply as the search after truth through nonviolent means. We light this candle to light the way for nonviolence. We light the third candle for Judaism. The Hebrew shalom literally means peace, but also means completeness, wholeness, health, perfection, prosperity, and harmony. We light the candle for the spirit of shalom. We light the fourth candle for Christianity. In Matthew, the peace prayer begins, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be known as the children of God." We are the children of God. We are the peacemakers. We light this candle for all of the peacemakers. The fifth and final candle honors New Thought. We teach that the peace of God is at the center of our being. We grow conscious of this peace, enter into peace, are surrounded by peace, and it calms the troubled waters of experience. We light this candle for the peace within. And so now let us quiet our minds and open our hearts to the message being sung by Blaze and Kelly.
I ain't lonely, but I spend a lot of time alone, more than I like to, but I'm okay with staying home. My, how the last few months have changed. I'm smiling more despite the pain. I breathe in, I breathe out. Got friends I call who let me talk it out. What ain't working? What's still hurting? All the things I feel like cussing out. Now and then I let it go. I ride the waves I can't control. I'm learning how to build a better boat. I hate waiting Ain't no patience in these hands. I'm not complaining. Sometimes it's hard to change a man. I think I'm stronger than I was. I let God do what she does. I breathe in, I breathe out. Got friends to call who let me talk it out. What ain't working? What's still hurting? All the things I feel like cussing out. Now and then I let it go. I ride the waves I can't control. I'm learning how to build a better boat. I breathe in, I breathe out. Got friends that call who let me talk it out. What ain't working? What's still hurting? All the things I feel like cussing out. Now and then I let it go. I ride the waves I can't control. If it's working, I don't know. When I get done, the thing may not flow, but I'm learning how to build a better boat. I'm learning how to build a better boat.
Join me in prayer. If you're comfortable, close your eyes to help avoid any outer distractions and just relax in your seat. As we breathe in and as we breathe out, I recognize this one presence, this one power that is right here, right now, in this sanctuary, in each of these seats. I recognize this power in the musicians, in Reverend Jackie, in the children, in everyone and everything, knowing that we are all one. And it is from this place of recognition, of unity, that I confidently speak this truth, that I bless this service today, that I'm so grateful to be here right now with all of you and knowing that God is working through each one, through Reverend Jackie, to deliver the right and perfect message today that each one of us needs to hear. Through the musicians as they sing their songs of love and joy, and through the keyboard and through the drums as it brings these beautiful sounds forth. To the greeters, to the hospitality, to all of it. It all comes together joyfully to bring us a beautiful service today. And so, together we say, Namaste,
Namaste.
Om, Shanti, Ashe, Aho, Amen, and so it is. And let's welcome Blaze and Kelly.
So wonderful to see all your faces today. Thanks so much. Friends all gather round. Something I would say. What brings us together here and blessed us all today? Love has made a circle that holds us all inside. We're strangers all as family, and loneliness can hide. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your heart to them. Tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've hiked these mountains in the rain. Learned to love the wind. Been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I'd always known I'd find you, but I never did know how. Like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your heart to them. Tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born in fire. It's planted like the seed. Love can't give you everything, but it gives you what you need. Love comes when you are ready. Love comes when you're afraid. Be your greatest teacher, the best friend you have made. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your heart to them. Tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. You must give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
Blaze and Kelly, and their dog Juno. She's over there by hospitality, just waiting. Now, they don't let you give her cookies after church, so don't try to sneak it. Good morning. Cheryl Houdon, who is on vacation this weekend, isn't with us, and I'm sorry, but about 3 months ago, she shared a story on her Facebook page that I copied because I knew someday I was going to use it. I was going to need it. And I'd like to share that story with you this morning. It's called Cut the String. The first police officer reached the 1-ton bale of hay and attempted to lift it off of me, the writer wrote. Of course it doesn't budge. He grabs his flashlight and shines it under the hay into my face. I blink. He yells over his shoulder to his partner and says, he's alive, help me move this bale. Help me move this hay. Even working together, 2 officers could not move it. Not a fraction of an inch. 1,000 pounds each is what one of those bales of hay usually weighs. Of course they can't move it. Cut the strings, I whisper. My voice is weak. They can't hear me. I'm not going to last much longer, he writes. If they will just cut the strings, the bale will break apart and they can drag me out from under here. Lift, Joe, lift, the police officer says. Cut the strings, I mumble. Please, just cut the strings. Come on harder. It's too heavy. We can't lift it. The police go on and say, what are we going to do? They got to get more help. Leaving the man alone in the growing darkness. Wonderful, painless, peaceful, irresistible sleep beckoned him. I struggled to remain conscious. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are they? How long does it take for police, fire, ambulance to arrive? Where's the Coast Guard? Where are the Marines? Where is that one old farmer with enough common sense to just cut the string? The desert air grows chilly as the sky darkens, and I grow weaker. Dizziness overcomes me, and I begin to drift off into that gray space somewhere between the living and the dead. Help finally arrives. One of the police officers bends down so I can see his face. Hold on. The fire engine is coming. It's coming. It's here. There's 6 men on board. The writer says, so I do the math. Two big, strong cops and 6 burly firemen must move a ton of dead weight off of me. That's 245 pounds each. No way they can do that. But somehow, miraculously, they do. A couple of neighbors who have arrived at the scene stand by to catch me. They lower my limp body to the ground where I lie in a broken heap. Why didn't they just cut the strings? They could have saved a long, tortured hour, the writer thought. How heavy is hay? A piece of hay is about the weight of a feather. So how many pieces of hay does it take to make 2,000 pounds? A lot. That package of 16 bazillion individual pieces of hay wrapped in a gigantic bundle is a crushing weight, but separated, it would have been nothing. I feel bad saying this, he wrote, because it makes me sound ungrateful, and I am very grateful to the guys who saved my life that night. But there is a point to be made here, isn't there? He asks. Is it too big? Is it overwhelming? Is it crushing you? Cut the strings. Just cut the strings. Are you buried under crushing burdens right now? Are you concerned and worried about the emotions that are weighing you down? The 1,000 things that you've got to get accomplished? The fears that are driving every decision, perhaps, that you're making now? Are you being crushed under the weight of old beliefs and family history that no longer serves you? And on and on and on. Just cut the strings. Over the last 3 weeks, I have had a lot of time to think about my life. I shouldn't do that, should I? You know what they say, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Okay, I won't do that again. I'll just cough in your ear. Over the last 3 weeks, beginning 3 Sundays ago, 2 Sundays, I don't know, was it 3 Sundays ago? Where after church, my mouth blew up, my face blew up, and landed me in the ER from a reaction from some medication that I had been taking for many, many years that finally, I guess, just had residual impact in my body. That was probably the second time in my life I've ever been in an ER that I can ever recall. I kept begging the doctors to please just let me go sit in the hall so that they could take patients who were much sicker than me. They got mad and finally said, "Shut up." The next week I walked up on the stage, and as you can see from the wonderful thing that I'm wearing on my foot, I had a pretty serious tear in my fascia that's causing some stuff. And then a week and a half ago, wow, Spirit said, "You know what? You're going to stop." And since the only way that God can get me to stop is to put me in the bed flat on my back, Spirit did with a big, huge bout, very serious bout of bronchitis. In the last 3 weeks, I have had more time to think about my life and the strings that are tying me and that I am tied to than I did in the entire 2 years of the pandemic, when everybody else had so much time to contemplate and to change their life and to do all of those things. No, not me. I wait. I wait. And in this time, I skipped through a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer, his very powerful book, 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace. I thought, okay, this may be something for me to read. Now, this book was published many years ago, and it's grounded in universal principle. And of course, I loved Wayne Dyer. I loved him very much. Steeped in universal principles that have been taught by all the mystics and the masters and the prophets and the sages of all ages, and of course espoused by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, and other New Thought philosophies like Unity and UU and other places. But Wayne Dyer, of course, puts his own unique spin on in this book on universal principles, where he talks about being open at the top and don't die with your music still in you. I love that one, Rex. You want to read that chapter. Don't die with your music still in you, he says. He says you can't give away what you don't have, and you've got to embrace the silence and connect with spirit. And of course, that was why I had to read the book. So that for a week and a half, when I was unable really to speak to anybody, those few of you who called me know that I would be like, I had to stay in the silence. And it has been a profound and moving experience for me. I've been thinking a lot about how do we cut the strings, the ties, get the weight off of us. Are we waiting for somebody to do it for us? Are we lacking the courage to make the choices that we have to make for ourselves? For our health, for our life, for our well-being? Are we waiting for somebody to come and take this off of us? Because, guys, it doesn't happen that way. It happens like an allergy, bronchitis, and a foot. In your unique way, it happens. I've been thinking a lot about a story that Wayne Dyer tells in his book about a speedboat. And some of you, I know the Comptons have a speedboat, and I know that the Comptons are almost semi-professional wakeboarders and so forth. Excuse me. How many of you have ever been behind a speedboat skiing? Ah, yeah, me too. So what is it that inexperienced skiers like me, most of the time, have such trouble with? What is it we have the most trouble with when we're behind a boat up on those little skis? What is it that we have trouble with? Anybody? I don't know what you're saying because I can't hear with these clogged ears, but if you said the wake, you were right. The wake, the wake. The wake of the boat. You know, that's that white foamy froth that's created from the boat's propeller. All of you know what that's about. But the wake is nothing more than the trail that's left behind. If I were behind a speedboat trying to ski, asking the question, who's driving the boat, would anybody answer the wake? Wayne Dyer says, no, you would not answer it that way. Obviously, the wake is the trail that's behind the boat, and it can't be driving the boat. In Wayne Dyer's fifth secret in this remarkable book, which I'm calling Cut the Strings, but he calls Give Up Your Personal History, he invites us to look at the history that we are so holding on to, like we should look at the wake of a boat. Our history is nothing more than the trail that's left behind us, he says. It's nothing more than that frothy trail that's left behind you. It is not driving you. It is not driving you forward. It's what we're holding on to, our history. It's an important concept, so I want to repeat what I just said. Our history is nothing more than the trail that is left behind us. Therefore, it is impossible for your history, that trail, to drive you forward, to drive us forward. And yet, we hold on to it like that's the only thing that can drive us forward. We hold on to it like that man laying under the ton of that straw. It's going to kill me until somebody lifts it off of us. Our history, my history, your history, is not in any way, in any logical way, responsible for what we're experiencing or what we're failing to experience today. Our history is the same as that wake on that boat. It is just simply a trail that we've left behind. I want you to hear that. It's a trail that we've left behind. But the big question is, have we? Have you? Have you let your history be in the past? Or are you allowing it to cause the fear that we're facing? Your fear, my fear. Have you cut the string? Wayne Dyer wrote this in his book. He says, for well over a quarter of a century now, I've worked with people to help them access higher levels of awareness. It is my experience, he said, that most people live their lives in the wake by hanging on to personal histories to justify to justify their self-defeating behaviors and scarcity in their lives. To justify. We hold on to our past to justify where we are right now. He says this: they hang on to past pains, abuses, and shortcomings as calling cards to announce a poor me status to everyone they meet within minutes of their introduction. I was abandoned as a child. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an incest survivor. My mother took drugs when she was pregnant with me. My parents are divorced. My father was an alcoholic and beat me and didn't love me. That's my story. And I've never gotten over it, so I don't trust anybody to love me now, because my history keeps me tied to that ton of hay that I won't let go of. But here's the news flash, my friends. The past is over. By using past struggles and past things that have happened to us as a reason for not getting on with our life today, we're doing the equivalent of saying that the wake is driving the boat. And it's not. Now, listen, guys, I am not saying that our history does not play an important part of our life. Our history informs us. Our history can help protect us. Our history can inform us and educate us and teach us. I'm talking about the history that we hold on to, that identity that we hold on to, who we are, who we have been, which keeps us from becoming who we are meant to become, what we are meant to become. So I'm not saying that it doesn't impact how we look at things. Obviously it does. Listen, a Southerner looks at sweet tea a hell of a lot different than a New Yorker does. I'm just saying. So it informs me. It informs me. The New Yorker's ignorant to good tea. But the point I'm making here is, the point I'm trying to make here is that, yes, our history informs us, but is it controlling us? Is it pulling us and pushing us? In a universe that we live in, that is a system of intelligence, that has a divine creative force supporting this universe in which we exist. In that universe, there simply are no accidents. There are no accidents. And as tough as it is for us to acknowledge this, you and I had to go through exactly what we went through in order to get to where we are today. I know that's not easy for the woman who was abused by a relative. I know those words give you no comfort to a child who was beaten by their alcoholic father within an inch of their life and a gun held to their 8-year-old head, as I was. I know it's very little comfort to say to me, Jackie, you had to go through that in order to be who you are today. But I know intellectually the truth of that, even if I still haven't been able, as many times as I say it to you, to get it myself. So I'm not saying that we totally ignore our past, but we ask our past to grant us grace, to grant us peace and understanding, so that we can finally cut the string. Finally cut the string. In these deep, dark days that we're living right now, 945,000 Americans dead from COVID yesterday, as of yesterday. A country under attack by a brutal, egotistical, maniacal dictator. Accidents that take our beloved brother from us, episodes of impoverishment, illness, abuses, broken dreams, mistakes, whatever they were. Whatever they were, whether they were self-imposed or imposed on us by someone else, they are all in divine and perfect order. And they happened. And you can't unhappen something. So our choices are what? To allow it to continue to drive us, to force us down avenues that aren't ours to walk through, or like that man, to whisper to the universe, give me the wisdom, the courage, and the strength to cut the ties that have been so precious to me. And when we can embrace them from that perspective, with help from a practitioner, a minister, a therapist, a friend, however you get it, when we can look at our past from that perspective and all of the events that happened, we can honor them, we can accept them, we can bless them, and finally we can retire them or we can transform them into something greater. And we can finally let them go. Over the last couple of weeks, I've looked at the labels that I have attached to myself. Maybe the labels have been placed on us by other people. A lot of my labels certainly are placed on by other people. But often they're labels that I have placed myself. Many, if not most of us, grew up with this generic label called, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not athletic enough. I'm not masculine enough. I'm not rich enough. Fill in your own blank. I am not. When I ask you, what do you think you're not enough of? Fill in that blank right now for yourself. I am not enough. Some of these labels we inherit from other people. Some we created by comparing ourselves with other people. Some labels come from our belief that nobody in the Holland or Robinson family can do whatever it is because nobody's ever graduated from college before, so certainly why should you? We define ourselves so often by what we learned in the past when we were too young or too foolish to know better. The mystic Thomas Merton said this, others can give you a name or a number, but they can never really tell you truly who you are. That, he wrote, is something you yourself must discover from within. I think about the musicians up on this stage. You know, I talk about musicians a lot because honestly, I've told Spirit that in my next life I want to come back as a musician. I've said that. If you're going to have to do reincarnation, I'm just saying, Deborah, if you're going to do reincarnation, bring me back at least as half as talented as the musicians that are on this stage. Because I think about that empowering moment when Mo realized that she could play a bass as good as her teacher. I think how empowering that must have been for you. I think about the empowering moment that Rex Miller was applauded for the first time when he played music, or Nicole published her first CD. I think about how empowering the moment is when we realize that all the labels that we've worn, all the labels and definitions that other people have used to identify us or that we've put on ourselves, that moment, that bright, shining moment when we realize none of that's true. That's not true about us anymore. Think how empowered you felt that moment. I want you to remember that and remember that that is what our life is supposed to feel like all the time. All the time. Dr. James Elwood Connor wrote a wonderful story called Random Harvest. Don't confuse it with the Random Harvest that was a movie in the 40s, which I love, by the way. But he talks about the help that we can get from others to help us untie the strings or to tie or to cut the strings. He tells a story about the students in rural in a rural school in Arkansas. They were mostly poor, underachieving African American children. Thanks to a Rockefeller Foundation grant named Chapter 1, first graders had an opportunity to participate in a reading program that rewarded their successes. And this is what that program looked like. When they finished a book in school, then they were given like what we today call a book on tape. They were to tape tapes, books, and for you older people in the room, a Walkman. I'm just saying. For you younger people in the room, ask an elder, they'll explain it. And they could take this book and tape and Walkman home, excuse me, over the weekend. And then with the agreement that they had to bring it all home on Monday. They had to bring everything back to school on Monday. When Friday rolled around, he tells a story about little Nicole who left school clutching her books, her tape, and her Walkman. But on Monday, she didn't bring them back. Every day, she either said she forgot it or she didn't offer any excuse at all. And this wasn't like Nicole. The teacher knew that something was wrong. 3 weeks passed, and still Nicole had not brought the tapes, the books, and the Walkman back to school. One day, Nicole's, as he wrote, astonishingly young mother, dressed in a fast food worker's uniform, came to school asking to talk outside to the remedial reading teacher. Said, "Could I please talk to you?" The mother was clutching the books, the tape, and the Walkman, and she told the teacher that she wanted to explain why her daughter had not brought the things back to school. She said this: "When Nicole came home and told me she was learning to read, I didn't believe her. Nobody in our family can read. My other brothers and sisters can't read, and I can't read. I was in the 6th grade when Nicole was born. I had to quit school. I gave up any hope of ever learning how to read. When Nicole brought this book home and read to me, I asked her, 'How did you learn to do that?' Nicole said, 'It's easy, Mama. I just listen to the tape and follow along in the book, and whatever the teacher reads, I can read. I listen and I start reading, and then I can read by myself.' You can do it too," she told her mother. But her mother did not believe her, she told the teacher. "I just knew I had to try. The reason Nicole didn't bring her reading stuff back to school was because I couldn't let go of it. I had to find out if I could read like my little girl." After a short pause, the teacher said, "Can you?" There on the steps of her child's school, the very young mother, a child who herself was a child, who had had a child, began to read the book to the teacher as the teacher cried and cried and cried. In this intense moment, anybody looking at them would have thought that there was something tragic that had happened. How could anybody know that the tears actually were being shed over the birth of an unrealized, God-given potentiality? Then, sitting a little taller, the mother announced proudly that she, who had come to accept beyond all doubt that she was just too dumb to learn to read, had actually done the impossible. On Christmas Day, she had read a part of the Bible to her own mother. There was no need for hallelujahs. They abounded in that mother's every word. They were expressed through the transformative countenance of that young woman who had learned how to read in spite of the labels that she had carried her whole life. For Nicole's teacher, this felt like a holy moment, a sacred moment that no words could possibly express. Something had happened for that teacher. Something had come about totally by accident. This teacher had started out to teach young people how to read and had ended up, she reflected very ironically, that even though the parents were not a part of her plan, it indeed had happened. Was this part of a cosmic joke, she wondered? A punchline being unintended consequences? Or was what happened to that young mother a cosmic gift that she would never be able to understand, never be able to articulate, certainly never able to control. I share this illustrative story with you because, like that mother, we all have a label that we believe about ourselves. I'm not worthy to be loved, some of us think. I'm not good enough to have a friend, others think. I can never accept help because it's weak, is an echo that goes through my mind. She had read to her mother from the Bible on Christmas morning. And in that instant, that young mother realized that she was not her history, or the history of her family, or the history that anybody had put on her, and that she had believed for all these years. And the spiritual truth is, we are not our history. We are not our labels. Underneath all these labels and beyond all of our history, who are you really? And have you asked yourself that question? Who am I really? Beyond Jack Holland and Faye Holland's daughter, and the minister of this church, and Judy's friend. Who am I really? Get bronchitis, lay in the bed for a few hours. I promise Spirit will give you an answer. In truth, who you are and who you have always been is an individualized expression of God, like these children that are running in and out of this room. Individualized expressions of God, expressing themselves joyfully, expressing themselves out loud. We should rejoice in that. We should say, thank you, God, for the sound of the little pattering of the feet running in and out of our sanctuary, because it says we're alive and we're growing. And look, making a new friend back there. We should embrace this, not put labels like noisy or loud or whatever the hell it is that we put on our children. Sorry. Facebook, YouTube, people. But we do that. How many of the labels that you are carrying you got when you were this beautiful child's age? I can tell you a lot of my labels are from that. A lot of my labels were, you're nothing but trouble. You're too loud. You're too much is what I kept hearing from my mother when I was a child. You're just too much. Okay. Thank you, God, I was too much. Thank you. Because, listen, we are all individualized expressions of God, and that is not an opinion. That is a fact. In other words, knowing that you are one with the infinite means that you are enough right now. When we know that we are one with the infinite energy of God expressing through that child, the infinite intelligence of you expressing as you in the decisions and the love that you give every single day of your life. It means that you're enough right now, and because of that, you deserve happiness and success and joy. Because you are a divine idea in the mind of God itself, the moment that Spirit moved upon itself and recreated itself as you. And then because God gave you something, she gave you something that it does not have. She gave you free will. Free will for you to either accept the labels that have been placed on you your whole life. You're not enough, or you're too much. You're too loud. You're too boastful. All the things that we tell children. And then they grow up questioning. But we have free will, and because we are an expression of the divine in all of its perfection, we have the opportunity and the joy and the obligation to choose which labels we are willing to wear. I encourage you this week, Every time you have a thought about something about who you are, or every time you judge something that you do, write it down on one of those sticky little labels, okay? And put it on your clothes. And at the end of the week, I want you to have all those labels on you. And then I want you to look in the mirror and read those words backwards. Because that's what happens. Okay, turn your jacket around. And I want you to ask yourself, of all those labels, which ones did I decide were mine? And which one did my mother, my husband, my children, my friends, society, the media decide for me? Because you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created the problem. You can't remove that label from your life with the same mind that wrote that label in the first place. You have to be transformed, as we read in the Christian Bible, by the renewing of your mind. We must, as Dr. Ernest Holmes says, remember that there is a power in the universe for God, for good, and it can use you, and you can use it. We have to remember that there is a power within us that is greater than we know, and it is expressing in and through us, through that veil, through that layer, through that ton of labels that are laying on us. Just cut the strings. Just cut the strings. Just cut the strings. And know that God, in its expression, is greater than anything you or I could ever imagine. One of my favorite little posters for many, many years is that little tiny kid with this little cherubic face that looks out at the camera and says, "God don't create no junk." But look at the labels. Look at the ton of labels lying on our body. Just cut the strings. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes with me right now. And I want you to think about one thing that you want to release right now. One string that's holding you back. One string that is tied to a label that says you're not enough. Or that you cannot. I can't. Or a string that's tied to a fear that you have. And in your mind's eye right now, I want you to see yourself going to that drawer in your kitchen or wherever it is that you keep that pair of scissors. I want you to see your hand reaching into that drawer and bringing those scissors out. And maybe you can't cut the string. And if that's true, then I want you to bring to your mind's eye that person in your life that you trust and know, and hand those scissors. If you can cut the string, so good. But there's nothing wrong in asking for help. Now look down at that string that's tied to whatever it is and see the blades of that scissor releasing you at last. At last. Deborah. Mother, Father, God, infinite Spirit, living, loving life, Almighty, Deborah. Join me for prayer.
Mother, Father, God, absolutely knowing that where we are, God is. Absolutely knowing that we are connected with each other. Absolutely knowing that it is, Mother, Father, God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, to bring forth into our lives whatever it is that we desire. Absolutely knowing that I am good enough, that you are good enough, that every one of us is good enough and deserves whatever it is that we desire in our lives. So whether it be excellent health, a new job, a new home, that new person in your life, whatever it is, know with me right now that you are deserving of it. That you are deserving of it. And begin right now from this moment to bring it forth into your life. Let's cut those strings to the past, any of those things that we are thinking we are not good enough for. Let's cut those strings and right now start right where we are, bringing forth everything that makes us feel joy in our lives. And as I absolutely know this truth, it is from a grateful heart that I release it into the law. I let it go. Let us all release it into the law. Let us let it go and let us let God do God's work. Because that's truly the only way it happens, is letting God do the work. And so I let it go and I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
And just continuing the prayer vortex that has been so beautifully established this morning. Our hearts are broken for our sister, Susan Newman, who lost her brother last week in a head-on collision. We just hold Susan in our hearts, in our prayers. We wrap our arms around her symbolically and hold her close as she grieves. And this morning, we absolutely know the truth for our world, especially for Ukraine right now. The courageous heroes, the men, women, children, animals in Ukraine that are being impacted by the bombs that are falling, homes that are lost, dreams crushed to earth. We absolutely stay in consciousness of the Most High, peace and goodwill for all people, everywhere on planet Earth. And we know that there are hearts that are being moved in directions of peace and oneness in ways that we can never understand. But we hold the consciousness of this truth right now. It is the worst of times, and it is the best of times as humanity steps forward and turns the fire of war into the light of peace and oneness. And for this I am deeply, deeply grateful. And we let it be so now. And so it is. Amen. 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 Thank you. Thank you. In just a few moments, we will be doing our conscious giving time. But right now, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements and invite Loretta up. Loretta, will you take? There's a cleaning. Loretta Knowles, our practitioner, Miss Loretta Knowles.
On? Okay.
Takes a minute.
So we want to welcome you to our birthing of the Awakening Wednesdays, which will begin on April 6th. And it will start with Kundalini Yoga being offered by Amy Stadstad. She's the incredible yoga teacher. She's been teaching for many years, probably like at least 20. And then it will be followed by an incredible meal prepared by the loving heart and hands of our beloved community member here, Shadi Ismail. And then he will be doing a talk afterwards as we're sitting together in round tables, communing with each other. And so that's just the beginning of these Awakening Wednesdays. So the rest of the month, we will have yoga every evening beginning at 5:30 Wednesday evening. And there's going to be a Course in Miracles study group. And then we're also going to be adding more growth circles that will be really exciting. And if there's anything that anyone in this community would like to offer, come and see me, because this is just the birthing of a beautiful thing on Wednesdays. So
Yeah.
Please come.
Thank you, Loretta. Thank you. Our Awakening Growth Circles, they can be book club, they can be almost anything. If you have something, and maybe it's something that you don't want to offer, but it's something that you're really interested in, then come and talk to Loretta about that, and we will find somebody to come and present some things that you might find of interest. These are ways to awaken our heart. Now, this doesn't begin this Wednesday, it's the following Wednesday, the 6th. Wednesday the 6th. So you're going to come at 5:30 for yoga. Even if you're not a yoga person, there are going to be chairs in there for those of us who can't get to the ground. Yes. And so beginners and advanced are invited. The first night, it is a gift to the community so that you can see if that's something that you want to continue every Wednesday night. Shadi is from Syria. He's up here on the front row. For those of you, please talk to him after service, and he'll tell you a little bit about this. He is calling this his From Love to Love free dinner, and the meal is going to consist of food that he has created from his mother's recipes from Syria. Now, many of you have had an opportunity, I hope, to have tasted some of his food at the many events that he has been doing, but we're going to come here at 6:30. Space will be limited. This will be a time that if you've been one of those closet New Thought people and you didn't want people to know where you went to church, you just might want to invite some of your friends to come with you that Wednesday night, do yoga at 5:30, and at 6:30 come for an amazing meal, and at 7 o'clock, Shadi is going to be speaking from his heart about his journey. So I tell you, it's going to be very exciting, guys. It's going to be a wonderful birthing of our Awakened Wednesdays. And we want to thank Loretta so much for heading this up. Miss Loretta, thank you. Thank you. So if you have something to offer or something you're interested in that you would like to hear, we're going to have a major speaker once a month and then other growth circles during the rest of the month. So that's a very exciting thing that's happened. What's exciting's happened in your life? Where y'all performing? Oh, okay. The most performing group in Boise, Idaho. Do you ever get a night off? Yeah.
We did last night, which was a miracle.
No kidding.
Yeah, during Freeport was great.
One a tutu. We're playing at Hump and Hannah's Friday, the 1st of April.
Ooh,
from 8 to
Hump
10.
and Hannah. A lot of good dancing going on at
With
Hump and
Megan
Hannah.
Kelewatas. And on the 2nd, we'll be at the Twisted District Brewery. And on the 3rd, I believe, we're at Bar 365. But I
Okay,
could
so
be
here's
wrong
the
about
deal.
that.
Go to blazenkelly.com, right? blazenkelly.com. And you can find out where they're going to be. And to hear where Rex is going to be, I guess we go to Pamela DeMarsh. Yeah, so to hear where Rex is, we go to Pamela DeMarsh. And what about you, Mr. Phil? You got any gigs coming up?
I think we're going to be at Albertsons on Eagle Saturday coming up.
Oh, let us know. We should all go and have dinner at Eagle at Albertsons. They have a great deli there, and cheer on Phil Bowden. Phil Bowden, Phil Bowden. Right? Look how red he's getting already. Okay. And unlike some people, I'll remember your last name. Of course, I only forget if somebody's complete name. I mean, when I do it right. So this is our conscious giving time, the time that we give back to Spirit that which has been so magnificently given to us. Thank you so much for being with us today, all of you at home, and thank you here in the sanctuary. Again, we invite you to stay after church for hospitality, for a little coffee and some cookies, and to get to know each other. And I encourage you today, every one of you, to stay here today after church and to walk up to somebody that you don't know well and give them a new label, like beautiful, like wonderful. Give them a new label and then ask their name. Get to know somebody. It is so good to see so many wonderful old friends back with us today. Carol's in the house. Santa Claus is in the house. Jim Berinsky's in the house. So wonderful to see you all. So this is our conscious giving time. If you just take your gift, your offering in your hand, for those of you in the sanctuary, you can take the heart. There are many, many ways, of course, to give. I know that it is going on up on our feed right now, the many ways that you can give: text giving, e-giving. We even accept old-fashioned checks, believe it or not. Our practitioners are standing by to pray with you, and Deborah Whitman will be praying with you after church on the end of the west hallway in our prayer room. I know we've been doing it somewhere else, but we're moving back to the prayer room now as the restrictions are being lifted. So listen, get a prayer. Call our practitioners or fill out a prayer request that's in the back of your seat pocket, and our practitioners will pray with you beginning this afternoon for 30 days or more. For those of you who are at home, you can put your prayer requests right now in the feed and know that that will get picked up, or you can send your prayer requests to prayers, that's plural, prayers at cslboise.org. Prayers at cslboise.org. Our practitioners are honored to pray with you. So please, let us help you release those labels. So let's just take our gift, our offering in our hand. How blessed we are today for the magnificence of this day, the sun, the spring flowers bursting forth, the abundance of talent and beauty in this church, the magnificence of our music, and the love of the consciousness of so many people. We live, move, and have our beingness in this abundance that Spirit has so generously given through us. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, life. As together we say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. Amen. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, the magnificent, the incredible goddesses of spirit, Blaze and Kelly.
Having a hard time. She's just afraid when she's looking for a sign. I've been there too, and it's no fun. The heart gets weary, and the mind's on the run. Keep facing the sun, keep facing the light. Hold on to your dreams and hold them tight. Here comes a strong wind, and it's looking for a fight. Keep facing the sunshine with all your might. Darkness pulls, can take us off path, can ruin a good love that was meant to last. Don't listen to the doubt, no, don't listen to the mind. Keep your heart walking down the narrow line. Keep facing the sun, keep facing the light. Hold on to your dreams and hold them tight. Here comes a strong wind, and it's looking for my height. Keep facing the sunshine with all your might. Like a dog chewing on a bone, your gums are bleeding, but you carry it home. Out of the fog and into the light, this is the story of my life. Keep facing the sun, keep facing light. Hold on to your dreams and hold them tight. Here comes a strong wind, and it's looking for my height. Keep facing sunshine with all your might. Go wreck. Keep facing the sun, keep facing the light. Hold on to your dream, hold them tight. Here comes a strong wind, and it's looking for my height. Keep facing the sunshine with all your might. Yeah, keep facing the sun, facing the sun, facing the light. Hold on to your dream, hold them tight. Here comes a strong wind, and it's looking for my height. Keep facing the sunshine with all your might. With all your might.
This mic, honey?
Yeah, use this mic.
Thank you. We're going to talk loud. I'm sorry. Guys, I don't want to get in your mics. Okay. I'm sorry. I just don't want to get on your mics with my stuff. Please understand that. So, couple of things. There's 2 birthdays in the house.
Woo! Woo!
And Drew.
All right.
Not every day that you get there. Anybody else? Not every day you get to be serenaded by Blaze and Kelly for your birthday.
The traditional or the our?
Whatever you want.
All right, here's an original happy birthday for the both of you. Okay, we're gonna do it for Drew and JoJo. There's a birthday in the house.
There's a birthdays in the house. There's a birthdays in the house. Give it up for Drew and JoJo.
There's a birthday in the house. There's a birthday in the house.
Oh, now one more trip around the sun. One more trip to have some fun.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Has been on our board of trustees actually for the 8 of the 15 years that I've
I gotta put my capo back on. Okay.
Woo-hoo.
I have
Gotta be
myself
prepared for anything when you got in Reverend Jackie's house.
Like a dog, shot a bone.
Here comes our bleeding, but you carry it on. Out of the fog, into the light. This is the story of our life. He pays in the sun, pays in the sun, pays in the light.
Hold on to your dream. Hold that tight. Here comes the strong wind, and it's gonna go by.
He pays in the sunshine before your mind.
He pays in the sun, shine
With all your mind.
Aren't Blaze and Kelly awesome? We're so blessed to have him there this morning. My blessing for you this week. You've heard it much during the service today, but I think it bears repeating. Let's just cut those strings this week. Peace and blessings.